and a warm welcome back to the channel of nonsense. I've come to Amsterdam for the things that most British tourists come to Amsterdam for. Debauchery and new electric Skodas. Under that wrap there is the new Skoda Elroq. It is Skoda's latest electric car that's going to sit beneath the Enyaq and above the Epic. So this is an electric Karoq basically, but it's a different platform. It's all new, and in a second I'm going to get to drive it. But first I'm going to show you what I can, given the fact that it's got flamingo stickers on it. Let's get cracking and then go do some edibles. I'm joking. Just, you know, I'm hungry. Right, Skoda's going to unveil this car later in the year, and I'll probably have another video to show you, hint, hint, when it is unveiled. But yeah, in camouflaged form, you can basically see that it's sort of Enyaq shaped, except it is only 4.4 meters long. So it's about 20 centimeters shorter than the Enyaq, but it's got the same wheelbase, so cabin space should be just as good as its bigger brother. They've just, in clever Skoda fashion, just made the boot a little bit smaller. But yeah, you can't really see its face, but there have been some teaser shots on the internet. It's got LED running lights up here above LED headlights there. You're going to be able to get matrix LED headlights on it. Skoda's got a new design language for this car. It's going to look quite different to the Enyaq. For a start, you haven't got the circular Skoda badge on it, what I like to call the winged willy. It just says Skoda. In fact, there's not a traditional Skoda badge on this car. This here is like a visor grille, a little bit like on the latest Vauxhalls, but I think it looks a lot better. Possibly. It's called the tech deck, and it actually hides all of the sensors, cameras and things that the car needs for its assistance systems, and you can spec it with the crystal light up bars, which looks a bit like Skoda's grille that you get on the internal combustion engine cars. But yeah, it's got a slightly swooping roofline. It's meant to be super aerodynamic. You're going to be able to get it with up to 21-inch wheels, also 19s and 20s. It's got a flat body underneath. This coefficient of drag is 0.26. Now I know what you're thinking, Tim, how do you know so much about this car when it's just parked outside an old sports stadium in Amsterdam? And that's because I've just sat in a press conference for it. But yeah, around the back, I think you get a hint there that it's going to look a bit more traditional at the rear, a bit like the Enyaq. It's got a 470 litre boot with some clever features in it. Don't know what we can see through the window. I don't know if I'm allowed to look through the window of my camera, but it's got a 13-inch infotainment screen and the usual little 5-inch digital driver's display. But that's it. That's as much as I can pretty much show you today. That is the Skoda Elroq with some Dutch business people behind it. I probably just violated all of their privacy laws. But anyway, that's the new Skoda Elroq. Let's hop behind the wheel and take it for a drive and get lost in the middle of Amsterdam. Yay. What do you mean it's the red light district? Right, we're going to go for a drive in this camouflaged Elroq now, and this being a covered drive of a camouflaged car around Amsterdam, I think I'm going to be able to tell you much about its dynamics as, yeah, what I had for lunch, which was nothing. But basically, this is just going to be a slow potter around the city to kind of just see what it's like, and I can tell you from the start, just feels like an Enyaq that's a little bit smaller, to be honest. The dashboard is all Enyaq. We've got the same 13-inch infotainment screen, little 5-inch digital driver's display that we've seen in the Volkswagen ID4 and things like that. It just tells you all the stuff you need, really, such as your range, the battery percentage, your adaptive cruise stuff. And this, I can't show you any of this stuff because it's not finalized, but basically imagine what you've seen in the Superb and the Kodiaq recently, and it is that, and the dashboard looks exactly like the Enyaq, so we've got lots of soft touch cloth and things like that. But in terms of like the powertrains that you're going to get in the Elroq, it's mostly rear wheel drive stuff like the Enyaq. So there are 3 battery options. I think it's 52, 59 and 77 kilowatt hours usable. The top one will give you about 350 miles of range, and then there's a couple of power options. A dual motor version, it's going to range from 170 horsepower up to 300 horsepower for the faster dual motor version. But yeah, it's very much like styling wise, I think it's going to be the biggest difference over the Enyaq. To drive, I've been kind of a passenger with a very esteemed Czech journalist, I'm going to call my Czechmate, haha. It seemed very comfortable over some bumpy Amsterdam roads. It just feels very relaxed, like the Enyaq. It's not going to be a sports car, it rolls a bit in corners, but it irons out bumps pretty well, and it's easy to drive, it's easy to see out of. You've got some reasonably thick D pillars at the back of the car, but then what hasn't? I don't feel like I'm about to stick it in that dike. probably not a phrase I should be using in this video, but look, speed bump here. How much do my moves jiggle? Not very much. It feels fine. But yeah, to drive, it's got light steering. It feels very much like a normal combustion powered Skoda. Again, so did the Enyaq. Over this cobbled bit of street, I'm not being jiggled out of my seat. It doesn't feel annoying. I'm not about to run over this grandma. I can see her. It's okay. Now, there's a load of assistance systems that you're going to get on this, same as the Enyaq, really. Your lane keeping assist, your radar, cruise control, things like that. You're going to be able to park it from an app on your phone or get it in and out of a parking space, and it can remember the last 50 meters of clever parking trickery that you did manually and then repeat it. There's a bright orange Porsche there and it's very distracting. Maybe I should have a Taycan instead, but anyway, I shouldn't be saying that, driving a Skoda. I think it's going to be more exciting to look at than drive, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a bad family car. If you're prioritizing comfort and just usability and general Skoda-ness, which I do tend to do, this is going to be a pretty good car, I can tell you that. What I can't tell you is what it's going to be like driving it on the limit, which obviously no one actually does in their electric SUVs, so I'm not really missing out much today. Oh look, there's a Volvo EX30. I should just go and crash into that and have the first Skoda Elroq crashing into its main rival. Now, obviously, being a model year 2024 car, it's got a speed limit warning, which will beep and bong at you. And actually, this dash is in English, but lots of it is placeholder stuff, so I probably can't work out how to turn it off. But if it was anything like the other Skodas, you just press this assist button here, and then you can fiddle and turn it off in there. But I'm not going to do that because I will murder a swan or something and run them over by accident. All right, as you might expect, being an electric car, the flappy paddles behind the steering wheel, they change the levels of regenerative braking. So if you click it all around the left into level 3, you get basically a one-pedal driving mode, and it will slow down quite a lot. And then you can click it up and it basically coasts along when you lift off the accelerator. That's nothing new, but it's good to know it's got it. Now, another thing I can't really talk about in any great detail on this drive is the Elroq's efficiency. I can only tell you what I've seen. We reset this car when we started driving it. We've literally only done 11 kilometers and it's mostly been at very, very low speeds. This car has averaged 15.5 kilowatts per 100 kilometers. I'm not sure what that is in British. That's probably about 6 pints of electricity to the Czech radio call. I'm slowly learning Czech as I go along on this drive. That's Czech for can you stop the bald Englishman from running over cyclists? Is he hungry? Does he want nuggets? Yes, I do. Now, I should point out that Skoda's put real emphasis on improving the aerodynamics of this car. So they've done some funky hacks. They've done things like stuck plastic cladding around the wheel arches to reduce the air gap around the wheel and between that and the body. And apparently that cladding gives you an extra 4 kilometers of range if you drive at 120 kilometers an hour. There's also a big spoiler on the back, which is in kind of a rough plastic. I'm not sure if that's final. It looks a bit dodgy. It's got a flat underfloor as well. And obviously it's got a slightly sloping roofline like the normal Enyaq. There's no word yet on whether there's going to be an Elroq coupe, but I don't know. I wouldn't bet against it. There's a big field of cows. It's lovely. Might move to Amsterdam just so I can use the word dyke repeatedly. Right, anyway, we're about to get to the airport, so I'm just going to cut this video short here. So far, all I can really tell about the Elroq is I think it's going to look quite striking. It looks quite striking for a Skoda. It's going to look quite different. In terms of the interior space, it's going to be really good. Back seat space is good. Boot space, 470 litres is a bit down on the Karoq. But to drive, it's relaxing, it's refined, it irons out bumps reasonably well. I just can't tell you what it's going to be like in a twisty, cornery road at the moment because I haven't done any of those. No word on UK pricing. It's going to be coming out towards the end of 2024. And then in 2 years' time, you'll be getting the smallest Skoda electric car, the Epic. That's coming out in 2026. So yes, stay tuned. I'll probably have another video coming out in a couple of months where I might be able to peel off some of the camouflage of this, and then hopefully we'll be driving it later this year. But if you're in the market for an electric Skoda that's going to cost less than an Enyaq, be smaller than an Enyaq, but essentially do much the same job as an Enyaq, well, Google Skoda Elroq or something, I don't know. But click like, subscribe, go down to the comments and leave me the Czech word for the man won't stop talking about food. Goodbye. What a load of bollocks. I'm sorry you've had to listen to all of that.